Continuing with the May-June 2019 CSEC past paper, item 40 to 42 refers to the following diagram, which shows the cumulative frequency curve based on the marks of 200 students who took a driving test. And as you can see here on the y-axis, that is the cumulative frequency, and on the x-axis, that is the mark. Now, item 41. What is the interquartile range of the marks scored by the 200 students? Now, the interquartile range is the third quarter minus the first quarter. So that is going to be Q3 minus Q1, right? And that will give us the interquartile range. Now, in order to find the position of Q3, then that is going to be 3/4 of the total population. So we can find Q3 by finding 3/4 of the total population, and the total population is going to be 200 here. So it's going to be 3/4 times 200. And 3/4 times 200, 4 into 4, 1. And 4 into 200, that's going to be 50. And 3 times 50, that's going to be 150. So Q3 position is going to be at 150, right? Now, in order to get the value of Q3, we need to find the position first, and the position is on the y-axis. Here is 40, and between 0 and 40, we have 10 of these small boxes. So if we want to know how much one of the small boxes is, we have to divide 40 by 10, and that's going to give us 4. So one of the small box represent 4, and we need to locate 150. So here is 120, which means that here will be 140. One of the small box will be 4, so that would be 144. Another small box would be 148, and halfway between the next one would be 150. So 150 is about here. When you find 150, we're going to draw a horizontal line that goes straight across, that touches the cumulative frequency, like this one. My line is not as straight as it should be. It's not drawn with accuracy, but your own should be drawn with accuracy. And then you come straight down, and here is 40, and the scale that they are using, between 10 and 20, there are 10 stroke small boxes, so that means each of them is 1. So it means that here is 40, this would be 41, 42, this is about 42.5. So Q3 would be about 42.5. Now we need to find Q1 position, and that's going to be 1/4 of 200. And 1/4 of 200, that's what's going to give us 50. So we need to find 50 and the cumulative frequency on the y-axis here. So this is 40. And remember that each of the small boxes is 4. So this is going to be 44. Then we have 48. And then 50 is out just about halfway between here. So we'll go across. The quartile range for Q1 is going to be 30. So it's going to be 42.5 minus 30, and that's going to give us 12.5. So the answer for question 41 is going to be A. Item 42. If 38% of the students passed the test, what was the pass mark? Well, you know that the amount of percent represents 100. So if 38% pass the test, it means that 62% would have scored a mark below the pass mark, right? So what we can do, we can find 62% of the total population. So that's going to be 62 over 100 multiplied by 200. And 62 over 100, this 0 is going to cancel out here, and this 0 is going to cancel out here. And 62 times 2, that's going to equal to 124. Now this 124 is the position on the y-axis. So that gives us the position that we need to locate, and then we can take off the reading on the x-axis, right? So we need to go to 124. So this is 80. And 80 plus 20, that is 100. And 100, this is 120 here. And we need 124. It's just one of these small little boxes here. So 124 is just about here. We're going to go across in a straight line. And then when we touch the cumulative frequency curve, we're going to go straight down in a straight line and take off the reading down there. And the reading here is 40, right? So our answer for 42 is going to be 40. That means the pass mark is 40, okay? Item 43. The following table shows the frequency scores obtained by students in a test. So here in the first row, we can see the scores. In the second row, that is the frequency. Then the question asks, the range of the scores are. What range here means is that the range is the highest value minus the least value or the lowest value. So here, when you look at the table, the highest value is going to be 10. And the least value is going to be 2. So the range is going to be 10 minus 2, which gives us 8. So our answer for 43 is going to be C. Item 44 refers to the following two-way table, which shows the mode of transportation to school on a particular day for a group of 200 students. And here we have bus, taxi, walk, total, and we have male, female, and total here. Now 44. A male student is picked at random from the group. What is the probability that he does not walk to school on that day? So what is the probability that he does not walk to school? Now another way to look at that, it is saying what is the probability of him driving to school. So if he does not walk to school, it means that he either take bus or he either take the taxi, right? Now the total amount of male here is 108, right? Now if he takes bus, what's the probability of taking bus? The probability of taking bus, right? For bus, I'm just going to use B. The probability of taking bus, that's going to equal to 30 boys out of a total of 108 boys, right? And the probability of taking taxi, I'm just going to use T for taxi. The probability of taking taxi is going to be 50 males out of a total of 108. Now, the probability of taking either bus or taxi is just going to be the sum of these two probabilities. So it's going to be 30 plus 50 all over 108, and 30 plus 50, that's going to give us 80 over 108, and 80 over 108, when you reduce this is just going to give you 20 out of 27. So the probability of not walking to school is going to be 20 out of 30, and our answer is going to be C here. Item 45. Which of the following represents the graph of a function? Now, for any of these solutions to represent the graph of a function, it must first pass a vertical test. Meaning that if we pick any one of the points or all of the points and draw a vertical line, it should only pass through one single point for it to be a function. So let's look at option A. If I pick this point here and I draw a vertical line through it, this vertical line will only pass through that point. If I pick this point and I draw a vertical line through it, it will only pass through that point. If I pick this point here and I draw a straight line through it, it will only pass through that point. And if I pick this point down here and draw a vertical line through that point, it will only pass through that point. So right away, A passed the test, so A would be our answer. But let's also look at B. If you pick this point up here and you draw a vertical line here, note that this vertical line here will pass through 2 points. And if you pick this one over here, it will also pass through 2 points. So this one would fail the test, right? So it's not a function. And if you look at this one, you pick any point and draw a vertical line, you note that this vertical line passes through all 4 points. That means it's failed the vertical test and it cannot be a function. All right. Let's look at 46. If f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 1, then f of minus 3 is, what this means, we are substituting minus 3 for x in the function. So we know that f of 3 is therefore going to equal to 2 open bracket negative 3 all squared minus 1. Negative 3 all squared means negative 3 times negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 3, that's going to give us a positive 9. And we must multiply that positive 9 by 2. And then we must subtract 1. So 2 times 9, that's going to give us 18. And 18 minus 1, that's going to give us 17. So our solution for 46 is going to be C. Item 47 refers to the following graph of a straight line. Here we have a straight line and we have 2 points, and this line point B and point A. Now 47. The straight line AB cuts the y-axis at, now when you look at this point here, the graph cuts the y-axis at -2. But note that the y-axis is also known as x equal 0. And what this means, it means that for every point that you pick on the y-axis, then the x coordinate is going to be 0. So here, the coordinate for A is going to be 0, comma, -2. Right? So that's the coordinate for A here. X equals 0 and y equals -2. So clearly our answer is going to be D. Item 48. The equation of the line which passes through the point 0, 5 and has a gradient of 4 is. Now, one way we can do this question is by elimination, right? Now, for the first option, when you look at the first option, y is equal to 4x. Yes, the gradient is 4, right? And this is saying that the y-intercept value is 0, which doesn't satisfy this information here from the question. So A is not the answer. Now, when you look at B, clearly B is not going to be the answer because the gradient of this line is 5. And in the question, they tell us that the gradient is 4. So we can just automatically eliminate B. And also you can just look at D and automatically eliminate D because the gradient of the equation at D is 5. So we're left back with only one option, which is C. And clearly our answer is going to be C here. If you note that so the gradient here is 4 and 5 is the y-intercept value, which means that if 5 is the y-intercept value, x is equal to 0. So of course it passes through the point 0, 5. All right. Item 49. The range of f of x maps onto x cubed for the domain -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 is. Now the first thing what we can do is to rewrite this question as a function. So as a function, this is just f of x is equal to x cubed. Now what we're going to do, we're going to just sub all of the value of the domain into the function and calculate, and it will give us the corresponding y value. So let's say that we're going to substitute x for -2 first. So we're going to find f of -2 is equal to, and where we see x, we're going to replace it with -2. So it's going to be -2 all cubed. And -2 all cubed, that is just 2 times 2 times 2. But it's -2. So you have to remember that. So -2 times -2, that's going to give us +4. And +4 times -2, that's going to give us -8. So when x is -2, the corresponding y value is going to be -8. So already by getting -8 for our first value, we already know that our answer cannot be A, our answer will not be B, and our answer will not be C. So there's only one possible answer here, and that is D. But let's just do another one to make sure. So if we find f of -1, then f of -1 is going to equal to -1 all cubed, which is going to give us -1. So another value is going to be -1, And if you keep substitute, when you substitute 0, our next value will be 0. And if you substitute 1, our next value is going to be 1. And you substitute positive 2, our next value is going to be 8. So clearly our answer is going to be D. Now to item 50 to 51 refers to the following graph of a function. And here this is a quadratic function here. Now item 50. The value of x for which y is equal to 4x minus x squared intersect y equals 0 are. Now when y is equal to 0, the x-axis, that's what they are talking about. So another name for the x-axis is y equals 0, because for any x value that you pick on the x-axis, the corresponding y coordinate is going to be 0. X equals 0 and x equals 4. So answer for 50 is going to be A. You can solve this algebraically, but that will take a lot of time, where you could just equate 4x minus x squared equals 0 and then solve it, factorize it, and then you will get the same answer. Alright, this is where we will end this video because I don't want the video to be too long. So we will do the next 10 in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you would have enjoyed this video. Please remember to like this video, subscribe if you are new, and comment, share as much as possible. Thank you.